Republicans in Congress are making moves to get wokeness out of the military. The House passed a $895 billion bill yesterday, which included a handful of culture war amendments, including eliminating the military's chief diversity officer and related offices, freezing future DEI roles, and banning the promotion of CRT. In his new book, The War on Warriors, Pete writes about how wokeness in the military came to be. One excerpt reads, quote, "The real blame falls on the military itself. The question of this book is not how did the military go woke? The real question is how did the military allow itself to go woke?" And former President Trump is promising to fight it if he's elected.
I got to know the real fighting generals. There's not woke in the military. There's woke at the top. They want there to be woke. But these guys aren't meant for woke. I'd fire them. I would fire them.
So the GOP is trying to turn this ship around, Pete. There's a lot of work to be done here.
There is, and it's a good start on the House side. It's not going to go anywhere because Senate Democrats will block it, and Biden will as well, because they're invested in this social justice, politically correct view of what our military is doing. And it's a recent phenomenon of Obama and Biden, but it's had terrible consequences inside our readiness. I mean, this is an institution built for meritocracy and lethality and readiness and accountability, and they're jamming all these. They're emphasizing the differences between troops and then de-emphasizing the reality of gender differences, that men and women are different and have different capabilities. And we're fighting wars that really matters. It's one thing in a classroom or a boardroom. It's another thing in the 101st Airborne. Yeah. So let's just be honest about it and unleash our warfighters to fight. So Donald Trump has a real opportunity to clean house at the top, change the ethos of the military, unleash it to fight and win as he did against ISIS. And that's the hope of the book, is that a new commander-in-chief can turn it around.
So take a look at this recent poll, because younger generations have a negative view of the military, Julie. 18 to 29-year-olds, 53% are negative. They don't feel good about it. They don't necessarily want to join. Part of what was in this bill was to offer pay raises to younger people to entice them to come in. In some ways, I understand what they're trying to do here, but again, I wonder how it got so bad.
Well, I think because morale is down. I mean, when you look at law enforcement in this country, morale is down. When you look at the military, morale is down because there's no incentive and you don't feel like you have the backing of Washington. You know, after 9/11, morale was way up. Everybody was enlisting into the military. We also had a Republican in the office that gave them the respect they were due. But now, whether you're in law enforcement, whether you're a police officer, whether you're serving in the military, you just don't have that same support. And that's why young people say, what is the point? What is the incentive? I'm going to go risk my life for what? And as far as wokeness is concerned in the military, there's no room for it. The same way that wokeness should not be in our colleges, should not be in elementary schools, should not be in our kindergarten classrooms. There is no room for wokeness. Your job is to protect our country. That is it. And we thank you for your service. I don't care what you identify as. I do not care your sexuality. I couldn't give two craps. Hold a gun and point it and shoot at the terrorists. That's all I care. Do I care about the terrorists being gay? Not as much as I do about having an able-bodied military veteran who's fighting for our freedom. Thank you.
Pete's got an excerpt of his book that will speak to some of these issues.
I'll read it in a moment, but you're right. The pay increase is good, but the military pulled a Bud Light. They basically tried to focus on non-traditional constituencies, and they offended the boys that live in Alabama and Oklahoma and Ohio and Colorado that normally join the military. But you mentioned a quote from the book, and I'll share it right now. It said, "A domestic political cult of virtue-signaling social justice saboteurs has targeted our military as the next trophy in their reckless big-game hunting of American traditions. This time they're going straight for the immune system. The results are self-evident. Our ongoing recruiting failures defy all past numbers. It's not a lack of recruiters or a small recruiting budget. Both are larger than ever. And ongoing economic uncertainty, along with obscene college tuition costs, should be a recruiter's dream. Instead, Americans no longer trust their sons and daughters in the hands of Uncle Sam, and that's what. And then you add on top of that what happened in Afghanistan. And the failure.
Oh my God.
No one was held accountable for that.
Absolutely.
It all has a ripple
And
effect.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think at this particular moment in time where we stand on the global stage, and because of the weakness of the president and the foreign policy issues that we were talking about earlier, you say to yourself, this issue, Tom, is more important than ever.
Yeah, you know, I think I'm going to run this one by Pete. I think he needs a task force. The way he had the Supreme Court, he had help. Trump's biggest strength in the last administration, his last administration, was the Supreme Court, because he didn't outsource the decision, but he outsourced the resource, and he had them make lists for him, and then he made his decision. He got rolled on military, and he got rolled on intelligence. He fired Flynn. He didn't fire Comey. He needs a task force to help him clean up intelligence and the military.
Oh, it's a great point. And there is an understanding of who they are and who they aren't for another administration on that mulligan, no doubt.
And for more, of course, you got to buy Pete's book, The War on Warriors. It's out now. It's #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list. And the Fox Nation special, The War on Warriors, is also available now on Fox Nation.
Thank you, Jeff.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.